What is going on, everybody? This is Michael Williams from Cartoon Universe, and today I have my first Miraculous Theory for you guys. Well, it's part theory and part rant. I wanted to discuss what I think is this show's biggest flaw, to the point where it's kind of a plot hole. This plot device has completely taken me out of the story a couple of times, breaking my suspension of disbelief. And that, of course, is the fact that no one knows Ladybug is Marinette, or that Cat Noir is Adrien. And it bothers me. It bothers me a lot, because here's the thing. Miraculous is not a particularly groundbreaking show like Steven Universe, but its simplistic yet very likable characters, fluent animation, and fun premise make up for it to sustain the show perfectly fine, in my opinion. The fact that nobody can tell the identities of Ladybug nor Cat Noir actually noticeably damages the show. Don't get me wrong, I still really enjoy the show, but I feel like this one factor is a big reason why Miraculous has yet to reach truly great status. But I feel as though it's decisions like these that are stopping the show from reaching narratives that are as amazing as Steven Universe or Gravity Falls. Granted, they were only given 3 months to write an entire season, so all things considered, they did really well, but to me, there's just no valid reason why nobody can tell who they are. Look at them. Now, I already know people are going to play the because it's a cartoon card, but that card will always get declined by me, and I will tell you why. Just because something's a cartoon doesn't mean the writers can't make the story believable. You don't get a free pass from writing a concise narrative just because you're working in animation. Disney movies are never written like that. Steven Universe is never written like that. I could go on and on. Just because something's a cartoon doesn't mean that the standard should be automatically lower compared to a live-action show, because honestly, it's not really fair to the medium. And I'm sorry, unless they end up explaining it in the show at some point, which they might, there's just no excuse for this gaping plot hole in the show, especially since it's an amazingly easy fix. Give them actual masks, like Spider-Man, or drastically change their hair. Sure, Adrien's hair changes a little bit, but it's not that big of a difference, and his eyes change, but still, not that much of a difference. And Marinette's hair is literally exactly the same. There are no changes whatsoever. She has freaking pigtails, for crying out loud. You couldn't just let her hair down. Maybe change the black on top of it, something. It's so obvious. This is just like Ash Ketchum. This man has been 10 for 20 years in real time, and at least like 5 years in the Pokemon universe. Sure, we know why Ash stays 10, because it's easier to get new children into the series and sell merch, yada yada. Granted, they could have gone about it in a different way, but that's another discussion entirely. But my problem isn't that he stays 10, it's that they never explain why he's still 10 within the canon. They could have said anything. Oh, granted him immortality in episode 1. Cool, fine. Oh, the blast from Mewtwo and Mew drastically slowed down the aging process. Sweet, sounds good. Something, but no. We're all supposed to accept that Ash has been 10 this long, and it's stupid, and it's a similar situation here. At least so far. We might get an answer one day, who knows. So as a means to cope with this show's biggest flaw, I'm going to try and figure out why, in universe, Ladybug and Cat Noir's identities are never figured out. Before we do this, we need to look back at one of the most iconic characters of all time, and someone who set the precedent for superheroes for years to come. Superman. That's right. Superman has a very similar dilemma here. As Clark Kent, he looks literally exactly like Superman, just with glasses. If I put glasses on, people still know who I am. And I would say that's the case for most people in the world. I'd probably even say that's the case for everyone in the world, actually. So what gives? How was Clark Kent never recognized as Superman? Well, I did some research, and there have been multiple reasons for this. For one, he changes his entire demeanor, and in some versions, even his voice as Clark Kent, somewhat similar to how Marinette seems to have a full burst of confidence and sass when she becomes Ladybug. But that's not quite a good enough excuse, is it? Well, while there have been a multitude of ways Superman has gone without being recognized throughout the years in all of his iterations, the most popularly known explanation is that his glasses allow him to amplify his hypnosis. I'm not sure how limited this hypnosis is, but essentially he makes it so none of his colleagues, or whoever happens to come across him as Clark Kent, are able to recognize him. Add that on top of his grade A acting performance, and you'll find that very little people will be able to put 2 and 2 together. There have also been versions of him blurring his own face with super speed, being really far away from photos, etc. The point is, there have been explanations, some better than others, but hey, it works in tandem with their respective universes. So how does this tie in with Ladybug and Cat Noir? It's so extremely obvious who they are. They've both even slipped up and gave pretty big hints by accident on more than one occasion. So how is it that their own parents don't recognize them? How is it that Alia, Marinette's best friend and someone who spends a lot of her time writing, filming, and talking about Ladybug, not see the resemblance? Well, there is one real-world study that may play a factor. Apparently, when a group of people were asked to identify if a person wearing glasses and not with glasses were the same person, 74% of them got it right. That means there are 26% of people out there who may not be able to tell the difference between Superman and Clark Kent had they not known ahead of time, and thus a similar amount of people can be assumed for Ladybug and Cat Noir, since their primary difference is their face masks, which don't cover up much past their eyes, similar to glasses. But I'm not sure how much I buy into that one, especially since this only accounts for 26% of people. Surely someone would have noticed by now. No, I think the answer may be much simpler than that. Are you ready? You ready for this? Ready to have your mind blown? The answer is magic. The end. Yep, that's what I'm going with. I know it sounds kind of lame, but honestly, it would make perfect sense. And honestly, at this point, I think it just might be the only thing that does make sense. There could be some other plot device that gets introduced later that could explain it somehow, but as of now, I'm fairly certain that magic is the only explanation. Allow me to break it down a bit. So we know that nobody can recognize Ladybug and Cat Noir, even though it's quite obvious who they are, and there have been multiple giveaways. It's possible that since Miraculouses are indeed magical, there is a type of magic that allows them to not be recognizable by anyone while transformed, essentially giving all that see them some form of prosopagnosia, there you go, which is a real disorder in which certain people are unable to tell the difference between faces. We know that people can still see their features, since Jagged Stone pointed out that quote-unquote Ladybug's hair was different when Chloe was pretending to be her. But it's possible that due to Miraculous/Kwame's magic, people are unable to tell who the Miraculous holders are unless perhaps they are actually to catch them in the act of transforming or detransforming, or the Miraculous holder straight up tells someone. This would also make sense for all of the akumatized victims, since Ladybug has been unable to figure out who the most obvious of villains are until they say something that directly gives them away. At least that's what I'm going with until the show provides an actual explanation, and it's the only way I can sleep at night. The other option is that every single person in the show is an idiot. Just everyone's really, really stupid. And honestly, I don't think that's a very good reason. But that was my little Miraculous identity rant/theory. What do you guys think? Is there some other logical explanation for this? Think this theory holds any weight? Do you guys think the writers just didn't want to bother to explain this nonsense? Let us know in the comments down below. As always, follow us on Twitter, and big thank you to our awesome patrons. If you'd like to get some awesome rewards and help out the channel, we really appreciate it. Just check out the Patreon link in the description below or at the end of the video. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I've been Michael Williams. You've been watching Cartoon Universe, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.